to other YouTubers that
Hey everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Anush, I'm a professional concept artist. I work in games and movies over the last 7 years, and I am also a full-time art teacher. I help people to work on their fundamental skills, develop a professional portfolio, all up to getting hired by a company. And today we're going to react on Pewdiepie's recent video. Let's jump right into the video.
I drew every day for a year. What's the progress? Was it worth it? So this all started as a random idea. I wanted to make a progression video and I picked art because I thought it was easy to track. Like I'll draw for 30 days, I can show the first day and then I can compare it to the last day. That'll be interesting to see. Did I make progress? People were so encouraging on the video and I really enjoyed picking up drawing. So I kept going and I did 100.
Is he your dad? Oh, I didn't know.
100-day one, and people enjoyed it even more. There was no way I was gonna stop. I had to do at least a year. And here we are. Being here, I have so many emotions. I am happy. All right, let's dig into it. Let's watch. Sorry, my nails.
Ah, so it's going to be another sketchbook video. That's cool, I love sketchbook videos.
Day one. Is that a self-portrait? What's up, Björn? Yes. Yes.
Oh yes.
Man, this is nice to watch. Like, okay, some are not terrible. This gives me confidence. Here's when I started to look up tutorials and stuff online. You think it'd be better, but they all kind of look like they have some sort of allergy. Like they ate a lobster and they have a seafood allergy. The chin is very big. I probably would have made it something more like, I wonder if I can fix this. I feel bad for future past self.
What is he doing? Fixing it on the fly? Yeah, it's the fight of every artistic person.
I drew so hard I can't erase. Damn, such a simple change and it's already so much better. I realize, and maybe other people have said this too, but drawing is more about training your brain to see rather than actually technical with your hand. I think that's a misconception I had. But after 30 days, this was the
It is both. It is the combination of the developing of the eye and the skill. You know, so you develop your eye, then you develop your skill, and it's always kind of like this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If he makes another video in 10 years, and I hope he does, he will also see how much further his eye and his technicality went.
The progress of my first video. I was so happy with it, and I think I should be, because the progress is definitely there.
I love these faces.
So this is my progress after 82 days, 84.
I remember.
And I really think here's where I peaked in terms of if you wanted to just
the infamous back eye. But it looked really good. I liked it.
Improve as much as possible in the shortest time. I think just adding colors on papers is so satisfying to look at that it kind of forgives a lot of the anatomy errors, the poor line work, the sketch is still being there. Like, it's just nice to look at regardless. But yeah, this is the last thing I drew for my 100-day video, and yeah, it's cute. I did it. I drew something. So let's check the progress from there on. That's wrong. First of all, don't do what I did. I just kept drawing the same things. Anime girl, anime girl.
Anime girls. I think it was already painful in the last reaction. I also want to say something about this. I'm always getting a bit triggered by anime faces and girls and whatever. If you have a subject that you really like to draw, and this is your comfort zone, sometimes it's really helpful if you don't know what to draw. It is the comfort zone that helps you to get into the flow of tackling something harder to do. If you want to do your anime girls faces or whatever, do it. If it feels comfortable, that's great, but make sure to challenge yourself even more afterwards, okay?
Too much anime. Just bad. Just bad. I was trying to be technical and like give myself notes so I can improve. I wanted to be more consistent. I think that's why I kept doing this. But if I had to redo it, absolutely not. This is where I should have moved on to something else. I should have just drawn anything else. And eventually I did. I really wanted to draw more color, but it takes so much time to do that.
He just did, he wanted to do something else and he shows another anime girl. Okay, I hope he shows a different
stuff. And I really felt like I needed mileage more than anything. So just adding a little bit of color.
That is really important. the realization of you just need mileage. I taught so many people over the last 3 years. I think the first realization most people have is they just need more time. I realized that very fast back in the day because I started drawing very late when I was 23. I realized, man, I need at least 4 or 5 years to get as good to have someone paying me to do the work for them. Drawing for roughly 10 years now, I'm wishing I would have started earlier because I think there are these years, growing up years for an artist where you just try, where you just look at things, you widen your horizon and you try to draw whatever interests you. The more you go through that time, the faster your style is crystallizing out because you have all this experience and all this mileage and you need this mileage. It's extremely important. And I always see people trying to rush too fast to something where they think they should be, but at the end, no one cares and you shouldn't care. You should care more about enjoying the moment right here, right now, drawing this, what you like, the things you are curious about. So I really love him saying that.
For sure. We'll ink it, but that's the most effort I'm gonna get into. Yeah, just sketching random stuff I find online. Finally, I move on and I draw boys. This is the boys arc. I drew so much guys from anime because I thought I drew so many mangas. You probably recognize these. I think this is Jujutsu Kaisen. I think this is a good time for me to address a couple things from my last video, and one of them is just a huge thanks to other YouTubers that.
Wow, I look like I'm sick. I think that's why I got so many messages. Thank you for putting that in, and I really do appreciate you mentioning the effort of making that video. Wow, I should go into the sun more. I look like Edward from Twilight. I'm so pale. Anyways, thank you so much, Pewdiepie. Keep doing what you're doing, and whenever you need help, by the way, just reach out to me.
That reacted to my video. I think that was so cool to see and actually get encouraged by professionals. I really, really appreciated that. Another thing was that people said I had an art background.
Now it's really hard to not be biased. Okay, never mind. Let's continue.
That was like a rumor that went around, and I guess I take that as a compliment, but no, I do not. I have not studied art. That was the whole point of this video. I was not being disingenuous. I have not drawn since I was a kid, but I love doing Photoshop. Before YouTube, I loved Photoshopping.
Thank you for the people who wrote that in the comments, because when I reacted on the previous video, people were saying that in the comments, because the way he used shapes on the hair of this previous video, it looked like he had a bit of experience.
In creating artworks that way. So maybe in a sense that helped, but I think the biggest sort of thing that helped is that I'm actually older. Like I'm 35 now, and I think if I did this thing when I was younger, I would not have seen the same improvement. But I also think, the improvement I had, anyone can achieve. Like I wanted my video to be inspiring for other people to do the same thing. Like that's my goal. Like people say anyone can draw, and I truly, truly believe that. Oh, and by the way, I wrote a blog post. Yes, I write blog posts now. It's just more details about my favorite type of notebooks, my favorite kind of pens. If I were to do this challenge again, what would I do differently? How to remain consistent.
By the way, I really love his headset. What is this headset? Anyone who knows that, please let me know.
Detail in this video. But an insecurity of mine was brewing, which was I couldn't. Like if I wanted to draw anime style, sorry, it's hard to see here. You start with a circle, you draw a middle line, you draw where the eyes are going to be, you kind of figure out how the chin is going to be, the nose, the mouth, the ear, and then you swirl in some hair really quick. This method is so helpful because when you draw, it's all about balance. Like if I drew directly, same thing, and anything is like out of proportion, the whole thing just kind of looks weird.
Here I want to say two things, maybe three things. First of all, to begin with this method in the starting point of your art journey, career, that's totally fine. For most people who know it, it's kind of like the Loomis method, where you start with the circle and you cut off the half and you basically learn about the ratios of the face and you learn where to place stuff. That's a great beginning thing. I also start with this myself. Nevertheless, is it a ultimate thing what you should use for the end of your career? Definitely not, because you just learn schematic placement of things. Whenever you go to live drawing, whenever you go on the street drawing people, you will realize human beings are very different. That brings you into the problem when you still try to draw them schematically. You will feel like, oh, it doesn't look the way it look or it should look. I did made a video on how to draw faces and heads, so to speak. There I explain a method where you start with the basic of geometric forms. So starting with a box and learning how to carve out a head out of a box. I would definitely recommend for all the beginners to watch that. This is, again, a good starting method, but at some point you have to move on. And whenever you have trouble with moving on, watch that video. There's also a drawing plan in it. What he tries to do right now, like starting with the eyes and nose and whatever, when you have the mileage and you have the experience and you drew so much, you come to a point where you can basically start a face out of the eye or the iris or even from the chin. Whenever you want to challenge yourself, try to draw a face chin upwards.
So to draw directly, it was so difficult. So I bought this pen. This pen is amazing.
Oh, okay. So Pewdiepie is trying to progress very fast, which is great, but it can be very discouraging because ink is another game. When you know you can erase, great, you can erase. When you start with ink, there is no point of erasing. And I just went through that myself. 2022, I decided to stop pencil completely and I went full ink. And I filled, I would say, 3 sketchbooks after going through all that. So what I would recommend, if you still have trouble on just the basics of drawing a face or heads, don't take a medium that makes it extra hard for you. Take a medium that is comfortable for you. If you do it like Pewdiepie, this is the hardest training you can do. This is Goku in the 100 gravity chamber. It's really hard to do it with ink. You have to pre-visualize, but it also slows you down, which is great on the other side. So if you're willing to go through that very hard training for a long, long time and fail extremely fast, but also a lot, you will get better exponentially.
It's a brush pen, and if you squeeze it, ink comes out, and you can draw really slim lines or really thick lines really quickly. And I told myself I was gonna force myself to use this pen, even though it looks like shit. I was gonna really I'm gonna use this pen. I need to learn how to draw without the whole circle thing again.
My recommendation here, Pewdiepie, just if you watch this video, I recommend ink pens like this. You know, like slim pens don't have the problem of controlling the line so much. Starting with a slimmer line makes it a bit easier to do, because if you take a brush pen is very heavy. Why it's so hard with the brush pen is, since it's so heavy, if you dip too much, the line gets too thick. So it's really hard to control the line. And I actually drew, give me a second. I think I actually never showed this on video, but I actually drew an A0 size image only with a brush pen. So that is the original. It's all made with a brush pen with no pencil drawing, which was extremely hard because you have to pre-visualize what you want to draw. And any little mistake can mess up the drawing. I couldn't draw longer than 2 hours because since the brush pen is a bit heavier and a bit thicker, my hand started to hurt. I would recommend, if you want to use the brush pen, use it for a big format. If you draw in a small sketchbook, it's not really made for very small sizes unless you're Kim Young-ji, who was basically the master of that pen.
But that's how you have to improve, you know, you have to get out of your comfort zone. But I think eventually I started to sort of get the hang of it, and you can get kind of really quickly satisfying result with the high contrast. I really enjoyed, so I did some manga pan.
It's the high contrast, but it's also thinking in shapes, especially when you do hair. What I can also say, you really want to go for the ink thing and say like, oh, you write brush pens really hard. Get a brush and also get some real ink. Because with a normal brush, it's a bit easier to control. Most amazing thing about ink that I've learned, it slows you down. You have to pre-think because you can erase that, right? Get very delicate with the lines. Bring you to a really amazing results. But again, you have to be willingly open to fail a lot in the beginning stages.
Panels and manga is really cool. Getting more comfortable.
Nice.
It's still so hard with proportions, man. Like,
dude, but he got really good. Look at these eyes. You see like how much more impact this has with black, right? Oh, I also love the face down there. He got really good with this.
Anything is slightly off, it's gonna...
I also love actually when he did these like dry brush things, you know, where it kind of like he just went over it, because it's kind of like softening the edges and it gives a very artistic feel to it.
Suck. So yeah, this felt like a little side quest, but I'm glad I took it. And yeah, it was really fun. But what I should have been doing is draw other things as well. I did find it amazing, like how I could all of a sudden, even though I never practiced drawing a cloud, I could draw a cloud better than I ever could. So that's cool. Okay, I'm done.
Hello.
But I think something finally sparked in me where before I was like, okay, I just want to draw for the sake of drawing. I don't have any interest in anything. I started drawing manga panels. I started drawing perspective, and I wanted to understand these things. Drawing landscapes. This is Nihei. I love his work so much. So finally, after, I don't know, 300 days of drawing, I picked up
Where did he get all these sketchbooks? I want these sketchbooks.
an art book. I should have done this ages ago. So I picked up a couple art books, some more technical than others, but I really enjoyed this one, Taco, because I enjoyed the style of it. Obviously, everyone has different preferences. I think if you were to be a professional artist, you probably want to pick like a human anatomy book and really study it. But for me, it's just supposed to be fun. And I think if I'm having fun, I will remain consistent. So at least that's what I was trying to focus on.
Yeah, really
I picked up books about perspective because I want to learn and I want to understand this. And I think finally that clicked in me. It went from me just wanting to sketch whatever to, no, I actually want to understand these things so I can draw them better. And I wish I did that sooner. Again, this felt like taking so many steps back because I had no clue how to draw a body. Zero.
I know this book. I saw this book when I was in Korea in an art store, but I always have to be very careful with buying books because I'm a huge book sucker and nerd, especially for art books. So yeah, I also have to get this one, but it's actually a pretty good book.
Not practice it at all. I had sketched so much, and it feels embarrassing to admit this, but like everyone was so amazed by my 101 that I felt like, okay, well, my year one has to be really good, right? Like, but progress isn't a straight line. Like, I think I was being too hard on myself where I was getting close to a year and I'm like, I don't have anything to show for it. I drew a full body one and I'm like comparing it to my 80-day one and I'm like, the 80-day one is still better.
No, you know why? Because it's full body. It is full body. And the other one is just a face. The step from just face to full body is big. Believe me, it's really big because it's much more to handle. More in perspective, more forms in perspective, foreshortening, proportion, shapes, all of it.
Even though this is like full body, it's still better. So yeah, if you want to improve.
And at the end, you should not beat up yourself about something that you think you should have reached in that time. It, first of all, it doesn't make you happier. Also, it has to do with your own expectation. Expectation doesn't bring you any happiness, especially in art, because we doing art for the sake of art. So again, all you should focus just on here and right now. Of course, this is a 1-year video. To be honest, whatever you have showed, it would be better than the year in the beginning before, you know? So don't worry, man, just do this.
I have to kind of go through the pain of sucking again, I guess. Because it really felt like, oh, cool. Like I drew for this much and I don't have anything to show for it. I think I wanted to learn to draw and actually understand anatomy. Before, it didn't matter to me. It was just a hobby. But now I'm like, I want to actually know, like, how do you draw legs? I was genuinely panicking. Like, it's been so frustrated this entire month. Not only because I wanted to show for the video, but I felt genuinely in me like I can do more. I know I can do more. I know I can do better. And I really wanted that to show. So I really did push myself a lot towards the end here.
What I always say, you can always do more, but more is not always better. Big question is always, what is it that you want? Do you want to chase quality in your work? Do you just want to do work? Do you just enjoy doing what you're doing? Then just focus on that. There is no end goal really in art. When your goal is to be an artist, it's about creating every day.
And that's when I bought an iPad. Coming in clutch last minute. Super satisfying to draw with a pen on an iPad. But obviously it was way different. So again, it was like a last minute learning curve of me not understanding the program and yada, yada, yada. So let's go through the last thing I drew, which was on the iPad. So I started off just sketching and I was still too scared to draw bodies. I drew this, which I thought was going to be amazing. And I ended up really hating it. I think the colors are fun, but I didn't know how to draw hair. I at least tried to draw like a full body, but I was so scared of getting it wrong that I think I just made it look weird. So I practiced drawing hair, but it's just like nothing interesting about it. This is just to try it out. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna really wow you guys. I started the line work. I tried my best to draw the actual hands. This is gonna be so good. And this is the end result. And I genuinely hate looking at it. I've looked at it so much, it just pisses me off. Even now, I don't want to even... In my head, it was going to be so much more, you know? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, cool. That was it, huh? I desperately tried to draw something else because I don't know, like I felt like I could do more, but I kept drawing and I couldn't. Like it just came out looking weird and unsatisfying. This was supposed to be like the most simplest thing ever, like black high contrast with some color. Still, I didn't like it. And I was getting so close to the deadline. I think I have like 20 days left until this video. I drew a full body with perspective and I thought it came out pretty good. I was okay with this one, but I still felt like I could do more. So I sketched for a couple days and I told myself I'm gonna give one last effort. I have to really like it to actually sketch it. And this is the last thing I drew. I finished it yesterday.
Not too bad.
And I think I'm finally happy with it.
That's okay.
I finally drew clothes. That isn't just...
I mean, it's still Anime Girl. I've wished he would stay with just Sketchbook. I don't have a problem him using an iPad. I don't have a problem anyone using an iPad. That's okay. It goes a bit away from the ink, so I would be much more curious about him using more ink. But I think the biggest problem here is that he's still kind of like he wants... and that's really a problem. You want to do something cool, right? So you wanted to do something cool to show. And that's something that a lot of people do for social media also these days. We should never do art for the sake of satisfying others. Always do art to satisfy ourselves, to express ourselves. And the problem is if you do that, so if you do something for others, you will never be really happy. Again, I think he had a bit of high expectation for himself. Also, he forgot form shadows, he forgot some cast shadows. I can really go down deep into it, more appreciate about him working harder on his basic skill. And I think that is something that he really should do, is kind of like every day, an hour or 2 hours, just doing basic practice on figures, forms, perspective, or full figures in scenes, and thinking also about subjects that are interesting for him to show. But nevertheless, as long as you still create every day, just keep on doing what you're doing. Because if he loves anime girls and anime stuff, he will probably end up there for his more better work later on. Or there will always be like the influence of it.
I actually put some more time into the hair and like making the lines look nice and small little details. And
the lines do look nice.
Having the high contrast light, maybe it's...
And the eyes are good, not like the other one. So there's still improvement.
It's wrong, but it's there at least, and I think it makes it more interesting, you know, with some shadows and different pose, you know, all of it. I think I'm finally happy with it. I think for a year progress, yeah. Am I allowed to be happy?
Yeah, sure.
It took a lot of pain to get there, you know, like let's compare. Day 1, day 365.
Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider to subscribe. If you want to support this channel furthermore, you can become a YouTube member now, and we have a lot of cool rewards. So check out our YouTube membership. And Pewdiepie, whenever you need help, make sure to reach out. Okay, that's enough. Bye-bye.